So hello everyone and welcome back to Mindful Musings podcast. Today we are welcoming a guest, Christina Pochmursky, and we are going to do a virtues pick using the virtues reflection cards
from virtuesmatter.com and from virtuesshop.com.
Thank you. And here we go. We're going to start with a pick and our intention, Barbara. Would you give us an intention for today?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I'd really like the intention to be meaningful for every single person listening. So whatever it is, whatever the pick is, I want it to touch all of us. So it's an unprecedented time. These are crazy times. So let's look for something that we all can ground ourselves in. Yeah. So we're going to invite Lynda just to shuffle through her deck and grab a random card. So Lynda, if you could hold that up so we can just see that you're random picking.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Trying to get my thumb in there to pull it out. And the card that I have picked is faithfulness.
What was that again? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Faithfulness.
Oh, faithfulness. Okay.
Yes.
Faithfulness is being loyal to our beliefs, remaining firm and steadfast, regardless of what happens. When our faith is tested, we stay strong and learn from the experience. We do our work with meticulous care and excellence, faithful to its true intent. With the people we love, we are abiding and trustworthy. They know we will not abandon them or violate the sacred trust between us. Faithfulness through the changes and tests of time is a sign of lasting love. Faithful friendship is one of life's greatest treasures. The quote is Gautama Buddha: health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship. Practice of faithfulness, I'm committed to my beliefs. I seek the lessons and difficulties. I give my work the care it deserves. I stand by my friends and loved ones. I have abiding friendships. I cherish my friendships. I'm thankful for the gift of faithfulness. It makes me a covenant person.
Thank you, Barbara. So as you're reading that, Barbara, what speaks to you?
You know, what was really hitting me as I was reading it is the broken trust that has happened in, the last 500 years in this, not in North America, in Canada and the US, but with the Indigenous people, with promises made and that continue to this very day. And, these promises that were abandoned, these sacred trusts that were violated. And I guess, it requires us to really sort of reframe and reform. I'm thinking truth and reconciliation, of course. So I'm thinking faithfulness. Very difficult to get to truth and reconciliation when there's so much healing that needs to happen, when there's so much harm that's been done. So what this card is saying to me right now is faithfulness is a bridge that can help us get from there to the future of hopefully a caring culture and a more caring community. So, separate from religion, separate from, what our personal beliefs are, if we all can call on this kind of faithfulness to each other, to, you know, not abandon each other, to really lean on one another to help us through this time. I think, I just think it would be a beautiful thing. And it speaks to my intention, to, as far as I'm concerned, just how everyone can really draw on this right now in such a crazy time.
Barbara, I really hear your humanity and your sense of justice and how important it is that the reconciliation is really important, and that faithfulness is the bridge that can get us there.
Absolutely.
What I heard in Barbara's thoughts here and her reading of the virtue is one that goes far beyond and also embraces the personal commitment to faithfulness, the faithfulness to virtue. And that virtue encompasses, you know, it encompasses the world, it encompasses history. We learn from history, we see how things have gone wrong, and we recommit to staying true to the virtue that will help us heal.
Thank you.
Christina, how is faithfulness speaking to you today?
Well, it's a very beautiful word that can encompass a huge spectrum of behavior and thought and feeling. Because when I look at faithfulness, and I certainly think what Barbara was saying is, you know, fantastic, and it is absolutely true. I look at faithfulness, first of all, as a commitment to oneself. I believe that faithfulness has to start with faithfulness to your own self, that you keep the promises that you made to yourself is the most important beginning of fanning out and creating peace and harmony in the world. Because I find sometimes that I can be faithful to other people and show up for other people, but I don't necessarily show up for myself. And I think that is a huge healing thing that has to happen, where I have to say, I'm also valuable enough to be faithful to what I intend. Because it's like I have intentions and then somehow I drop them, but I honor everybody else's intentions. So for me, that word is a reminder that I have to be part of the process, and it has to be part of the, it's a process, and it's a commitment, and it's an honoring of being true to myself. And I think that's where I think if I am faithful and show up for myself, I can be faithful and show up for others, as I always do anyway. And then I'll feel like I've joined the group of people I take care of and the ideas I take care of. Mm-hmm. And I think that about sums it up.
Thank you, Christina. What I'm hearing and what you're sharing is the discernment and the wisdom that, you have to let it begin with you. We have to let it begin within ourselves to be faithful to ourselves. And it reminds me of, that saying that you can't give away what you don't have. And so having it within self. So thank you for that wisdom and discernment.
And I'm really hearing your devotion to self, and just, bridging the gap in the relationship at home first. And I'm really hearing that self-care to take, to add you to the list. So important.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to yell amen, but it's really not that kind of a rally. But kudos to you for recognizing and putting it into action.
Thank you.
How about for you, Lynda? What's jumping out at you today about faithfulness and our intention today?
Well, I think that the two of you have kind of shown, the aspects of it, that there's the faithfulness within our relationships with others and the faithfulness within our relationship with self, and the importance of being able to integrate those two. And what a journey life provides us with to experiment and find that balance. So, being faithful to our true intentions, even in the work that we do, faithful to the work's true intent. I remember, studying philosophy, and they always give you these questions, and like, for example, if you worked for some company that was a cheese company, and you had aged cheese, medium cheese, new cheese, and we'd run out of old cheese, but it's our best seller. So if you were on the marketing team, or in the production side, would you package medium cheese in the old cheese? Would you label it with the old cheese label just so you could sell more cheese? Because how many customers would you lose if you didn't have old cheese? They'd buy it from somebody else and you'd lose them as lifetime customers, blah, blah, blah. So these questions are put forward to students who go into industry and study. And it's always, I don't know, it's always interesting to me to see how your education, where one is educated, can really influence where you would fall, what intentions one would be faithful to, whether it's the bottom line or whether it's the safety and health of other people. So it's very, very challenging. And I think that we are going through very, very challenging times right now, where people are being tested about, what beliefs are we being loyal to? Whether it's over the political stance that one takes, or whether it's over whether one's going to wear a mask during the pandemic. It's amazing to me the wide variety, and how, even within myself, sometimes there seems to be contradictions. And in one area, my intention is one way, and then in another area, my intention might go off in the other direction. And yet it seems to be contrary to what my intention is over in this issue versus that issue. So, for example, when I think of people who are in support of everybody being able to protect their right to defend their property, to have machine guns or whatever, versus the right to protect my body as a female and decide whether or not I would have an abortion. It doesn't make sense to me that so often people are on the right to protect themselves and their property, but my body is not considered my property, or that I have the right to protect me. So I find it interesting how the beliefs don't always seem to integrate. So so that's on a more general level. And these are challenging questions for us all to work through for ourselves as individuals. And how do we remain faithful and true in friendship with people who don't always agree with us, or don't have the same beliefs, are not committed to the same beliefs that we are. And that's one of the difficulties in our lives and in our relationships that are full of all sorts of lessons for us. So, and I'm just grateful that I have many friends and loved ones that have stood by me through some really challenging times and honor me by allowing me to stand by them through their challenges. So yeah, I'm thankful for the gift of faithfulness. I have spoken.
Mm, thank you. We have heard. Lynda, I that was a lot, and I'm really hearing just the general sense of caring that you have for, you know, your own practice, the people around you, and the big picture, and what that means, you know, the importance of what that means for all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Lynda, I would like to say that I think you really highlighted with what you said, you really highlighted what a complex, we are living in a complex world, and all of the old, if you want to call it virtues, get tested when things are very sort of apparently random and it's kind of a free-for-all out there. And I think you highlighted, you know, the confusion that we all face, you know, a little bit of that, pulled that way. And then outside you see on a bigger screen, society being pulled this way and that way. And how to remain steadfast to your own, how important it is to remain steadfast to your own sort of compass, sort of came out in what you were talking about. Despite the confusion, whether it's within or without, the most, there is a compass, and that when you find it, you find, you know, your connection with other people, as you mentioned, your friends or your family or people that you've worked with, and it becomes mutual. You help them and they help you, and you both, you know, find a compass that you both agree on and that has, you know, probably infinite virtue right there. And the last thing you said, when you said, how do you stay faithful to your own views when you're faced with people that maybe have dramatically different views? And I think that a lot of that happened certainly with Trump and the whole last year of madness. And, you know, there are people who believe in him and there are people who don't believe in him. And I think the conversation is much deeper than the man himself. It's what values both sides are, you know, being faithful to. And, you know, that is the opening possibly of some tremendous connection and communication, just to see where I am and where somebody else is and see whether you can inch towards the middle. So I thought that was really interesting how you brought up the fact that faithfulness is not always an easy, you know, slam dunk, and that you have to work at it.
Thank you. That's great. Oh, wow. What a powerful card today.
Yeah, it leads us into a way deeper conversation. I mean, I love the whole wraparound effect, you know, in and out.
So 2021 is open for, you know, a real deep dive into the practice of faithfulness for all of us. What is it going to look like in our own lives?
And a real recalibration about how are we showing up? How are we showing up for ourselves and for others in the world? So, and I think, you know, showing up is the most important thing, as Christina said, you know, whether we're showing up for ourselves or showing up for people that we love in our circles, it's in the showing up that we become stronger and more connected.
Well,
yeah, it's like there is a showing up muscle. And if you don't use it, it withers away.
It's so true.
Yeah, and I think that's what people, oh, I did a good job there, and then you kind of let everything float. And it's like every day. Like you've got to sort of have the intention of showing up and doing your best, which is all we can do. But you don't give yourself a big pat on the back and then, you know, a holiday from showing up for the next 6 months. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Christina, I'm so grateful that you have honored us with your presence today and joined us. And I really hope that you will come and join us again.
Well, it's 2021. Here we come. We've got lots to talk about, and I would be very honored to join you again. And there's a very sort of inclusive warmth to your being here. Do you know what I mean? Like
That's good news.
There's a kind of you're not pretending to be slick.
I love it. Thank you.